I'm Becca. I'm a human female at 20 years old, the youngest one of the group, and here's me when I wasn't 20, probably about 7 there, so that's my inner 6-year-old, and we're about to go on a bit of a journey. So, yeah, about that age, you start going to school, a lot of things are happening, and for a lot of people, you start associating your self-worth with what others think of you. You start associating it with how much people like you, what they say about you, how they treat you, and you don't see yourself as worth something unless other people do. Everyone has crap. I had some too, and for some reason in my mind I started making up stories about it, about why things were happening, how things were always going to happen, and it became like a bit of a cage, you know. I suddenly was living in these scripts, and I was living as though people already weren't going to like me. I was living in stories where I needed other people to make me happy. So I was in a couple of bad relationships. I won't go too far into it, but it destroyed a lot of my self-worth. So then, coming into year 12, I met someone who was like my light at the end of the tunnel. This person was so amazing to me and taught me the value of loving myself. He was the person who I thought was going to make me happy for the rest of my life because he loved me so much. Here's a photo of us. All right, let's be vulnerable for a minute. Justin, do you have Tibbers? Are you able to get him out? So his name was Brody, and we went to school together. We met originally online and then discovered we actually went to school together, which was interesting. And we ended up together for a few months, and for my 18th birthday, Brody gave me this teddy. 4 days later, his car hit a tree, and it was over. He died instantly, and I never got to say goodbye. His family gave me some things and then cut me off, and I never knew where he was buried. I never got to go to a funeral, and that was it. After everything I'd been through, I thought that it was over. I couldn't believe that the one happiness in my life, the one thing that I'd ever been given that was going to make my life worth living, could just be taken away. And so at 18 years old, I made the choice to end my life. I took something that realistically should have killed me and miraculously survived. I think the universe was telling me something there. So it took a long time. There were a few other attempts, and up until even a couple of months before my application video to the property games, this is difficult, but I drank a cup of bleach a couple of months before it. From working 70-hour weeks, I was trying to get ahead and I just couldn't take it. I had another breakdown, and I did my application video with burns on the back of my throat from doing that. So that's speaking about being vulnerable. Suddenly, in my life, I came to this point in time. I had a choice. I was living in this matrix of my own stories about how life was always going to be. And I got given this option to sign up for a year away with some people I didn't even know that were apparently going to teach me to make money out of property. I think, property games, the fact that it was a competition was about the second lie they told me, because the first one was that it was going to be about property. I took that red pill. There was no question in my mind at that point. It had been a year and a half since losing Brody, and I was ready. Everything, it wasn't even a conscious decision. It was outside of all those stories I've been living. Everything in my body and my soul knew that this is what I wanted. I wanted this. So I took that red pill. I was the first one to get my application video in, and I knew that I was in. I just knew it until Michael Dempsey calls me. So he called me, and I'm like, I'm so excited to hear this. I'm so excited. And he goes, do you have a friend with you? And I'm like, oh no. Oh God, no. Oh no. And I realized that this was real and I might not actually get in. But I did. Probably deafened him a little bit in one ear screaming. And then I cried, and then I screamed and told my family, and then I cried again, and that was the start of the journey. From there, it's been a bit of a battle. Sometimes this is George Washington in the middle there. Sometimes I felt like him. Sometimes I felt like the guy in the bottom right corner there. a little bit down. But I was trying to fight all these stories and everything within myself that had been really pulling me down for a number of years. And I really thought that I needed to actually combat this. I needed to fight myself. I needed to drag myself along and push harder and harder and harder. I was taught that this actually wasn't the way to go. I realised that that light that I'd been searching for, the light that I looked for in Brodie, the light that I looked for in all those around me was not actually the thing that I wanted. I realised that there's actually a real light, and that's inside me. I'm still working on seeing it fully, but with the journey... The journey's only just beginning, though. I went into this thinking that today was going to be the end, but I realised it's only the start, and I'm so excited for the future.
Well done, Becca.
All right, so I came in, the girl who was decently depressed, had a bit of anxiety going on. Some months I didn't leave the house. After it happened, there were times where I laid in bed so long my hair became matted. I couldn't brush it out, I had to cut it off. I used to have really long hair, but no, that's a bit shorter now. But it's good because it was a way of letting go of all of that and moving on. So exciting news. Going from the girl who could barely get out of bed every day, I have a deal. Oh, just to start, the profit has an extra 0 on the end of that one to begin with. Okay, so this is the simplest deal I think you will ever see. It's amazing. It's a 1 into 2 subdivision. Basically, I struggled all year. I had some great deals. My first one I looked at was an 8 townhouse development. A little bit too big. A little bit too big. It was a great deal, absolutely amazing. And dropped out of that one, hit a bit of a low for a while. Found a few things, but nothing worked. Nothing was working. I found it, and then I lost confidence. And I had deals that basically I said, "Oh no, they don't work," and then someone else would take them and then go on and make money out of them. So something was wrong, and it was in my own head that there was actually a problem. So what I did is finally one day broke through this barrier of realizing that if you've ever done Compelling Life, they call it crossing the threshold on the hero's journey, where it's that step where you actually need to commit. And I always stopped there. So finally one day I asked Kevin for help, and I said, find me a deal. And Brendan. So Brendan calls me one day and he goes, Becca, I got you one. You have an hour to do your FISO and get your JV across the line. So I had to do a FISO in 1 hour on a property I had never seen before, get a JV across the line to sign contracts that evening. Pretty stressful. So that was the defining moment for me for this. I had to choose whether I was going to go forward and actually commit to this, or I was going to let stress hold me back. The other thing is they stopped answering their phones after doing that to me, so that was great, but...
Meant you couldn't back out, girl.
Means I had to do it on my own. I had to do it myself, and that was so important. So, simple 1 into 2. Got a great joint venture partner. We're going unconditional soon, shortly, but everything's looking good. We've got town planners and surveyors currently working on it, and it's going to be great. It's going to make about $122,000, which means $60,000 for me in about 6 months. I can't put it on screen yet, but I'm also looking at maybe a 1 into 6 at the moment. So if you're interested in doing a JV, take my number down and call me. There's big things coming. All right? I put the clicker down somewhere. Here we go. Okay, so looking at this is a nice simple deal. This is something you could recreate over and over again, making $60,000 off a lot using a JV and a buyer's agent. That includes all the buyer's agent's fees. So someone's paid to find that deal, and Brendan's been a miracle worker with the negotiation of it. So easy. All I have to do is make sure everything's going smoothly, get the right contractors and everything engaged, and having that happen. It's a good deal. If I did one of those next year, finish that one, I did 2 the next year, 3 the next year. This is a simple 30-year plan. It's not the actual plan, but this is an example of what you could do. Getting to the point where you're doing 5 lots. It doesn't have to be in 5 deals. You could do them in 1 deal. By the time I'm 30, I would end up with $2.2 million. So, yeah. All right, so that's not really including passive income, anything else. So I've done a more concise, well, I've got 3 years on here. Kevin says that's a bit ambitious, but stuff it, I'll be ambitious, that's all right. So yeah, keep doing JVs. I'd like to keep doing those for a while, get my equity base up. I'd love to do my mortgage-free home. That's my priority. I want to have a safe base to work from. I mean, all of us have been through some crap sometimes, so I just want to get to that point where I have my bedrock to work from. So, and then I wanted to be able to do deals with my family too. You can see that there's a regional renovation. I would love to do that with my dad because he's coming closer to 60 every day and doesn't have a super or a chance to retire. So being able to help him out of that would just make my life. I would be so happy for that. Yeah. So in 3 years, if I can prove Kevin wrong, I would like to have a total equity of about 300K available and about 200K passive income. Let's see how that goes, right? If you want to come along, as I said, the number's right there. So finding my why was one of the major things I struggled with this year. As I said, my self-worth was based a lot on what other people thought of me. So I would always say things like, I want to help other people, I want to start a charity, I want to build a school overseas, which is amazing, and that would make me feel great. But your why is deeper than that. Your why is what your soul really, really loves and wants. Right now, my why is just getting that mortgage-free home. In the future, it's going to be creating. I want to be an author. I want to write books. Hopefully the next one's going to be coming out next year. The first one is going to be coming out next year. So keep an eye out for that. And I believe now that because we've had this opportunity as a millennial, I can act as a voice through fiction writing, non-fiction writing, whatever I choose to do for millennials who are lost, people who do struggle with mental illness, and people who don't know where the future's going to go. Because it's a bit of a scary time for young people at the moment, not seeing all the news about avocado on toast and never being able to own their own home. So I would love to do that through writing, through creating, through presenting, through communicating with people. Okay. I have a video for you too, which I believe Michael's running up the back to plug because it didn't embed in the PowerPoint properly. So we'll just get him to start that one. Oh, we were prepared. We were prepared, kind of.
You're looking at the original picture of Beck when she pitched her property games there.
We're about to have the original video in a second. Hello, Dimna and Kevin. My name's Becca. I'm from Geelong in Victoria. I'm 19 years old and a self-confessed property tragic. I realised that I don't want my future to be in the hands of my employer. I want the freedom to be able to control that myself. The property games are important to me because I want success, and I believe that investment opens so many doors to so many different pathways you could never have seen otherwise. I know that Brisbane with you is the right place for me in 2017. I've just quit my job and broken my lease because, as I'm very excited to announce, I'll be participating in the 2017 property games. Days that this is going to be huge. This is actually going to be huge. I'm putting my whole life aside to do this, and I've realized I'm kind of terrified. I've always believed that if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough. So I'm throwing myself in. I'm trusting in Kevin, Dipna, and all the other mentors that I'm going to be meeting throughout the year. I've just had the most amazing day of my life. Hey guys, welcome to Brisbane! Woo! First time here, it's pretty exciting. Hey guys, we're about to head off to the first day of Dipna's Ultimate event. Hey guys, it's Becca. We're in our property game shirts now. We're about to go on stage for the first time at the 3-day event. We're just like, mate.
Come up here, guys.
They're on day 36.
Day 36.
Maybe some of you can relate to that feeling of watching all of these people's success stories and great investors and just feeling like you're looking at it through a window, kind of like you want to be in there, you want to see it, you want to do that stuff, but you just can't break through that glass. I have some pretty awesome stuff going on at the moment. Got an amazing deal. I'm struggling right now. I guess there's a lot going on, and I just know what an amazing opportunity I've got, but I really kind of feel like I'm failing and letting people down. I'm just sorry that I haven't been better and haven't been more, I guess, like I felt I was gonna be. I've let myself down, and through that I feel like I've let everyone down. Yeah, because I decided not to go ahead with the big deal that I was doing. To go, my journey has to be for me and about me. Finally, after everything, I have a deal and it's almost going through, and I'm so excited. Hello Kevin and Dipna, my name's Becca. I live in Fitzgibbon, Queensland. I'm 20 years old and I'm in a property deal. Not only that, but I wake up every day loving life. Thank you guys so much for everything you've given me, and I promise that I'll make it count. Bye, and I won't see you in the next one.
There you go. Well done, Becca.
I've learned a hell of a lot.
Great journey.
If I could give you one message, don't be afraid to ask for help. Being you is the advice everyone gives you, but that's hard sometimes if you don't know who that is. It is. So ask for help. I couldn't cross that threshold, so I got someone to find me a deal. I'm in one now. I'm going to make $60,000 just because I put aside my pride and asked for that. If that's what your journey needs to be, do it. You don't have to be the biggest investor in the room. You don't have to be the one with the biggest numbers. If that's what your why is, though, make it happen and don't be ashamed of that. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Dipna.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kevin and Lisa. Thank you, everyone here. Thank you, everyone who got up on stage and cried and gave us all permission to do the same, because it takes you guys to start that movement. I really appreciate it. Love you all.
Thank you.
And happy birthday to my mum today. She's not here, but happy birthday to her.